Trusting the process is acknowledging that processes are never a straight path.
What does it mean to trust the process? Let's listen to the story of 42-year-old interior designer Aissa Gonzalez. After leaving a promising design career in Manila, she took her chances to build a life in London, endured a roller coaster career journey, and is now the creative director of a sustainable furniture company in the UK. What was Aissa's journey like? This is Trust the Process, a Paano Ba To special series.
Welcome back to Paano Ba To, my sister, Aissa.
Hello.
I know it's quite difficult because it was a long journey, but if you can give us a bit of a summary and overview of what your career journey was like from your course all the way to now.
Are we talking just career or
Yeah,
even
just
like
career.
other
It will touch on
events
personal,
that have
but
affected said career? Quick journey. I think I've always wanted to become an interior designer, but as you know, our dad is from Ateneo, and he was one of those people who was like, "No, you have to go to that school." Fair enough, but there's no interior design course there. So our agreement was I have to finish a course there and then I can do my interior design thing. I feel like they were secretly hoping that after Ateneo, I'd change my mind and be like, oh, actually, I want to do whatever, marketing. Eventually end up finishing Ateneo, went to Philippine School of Interior Design. That was 2.5 years. And then after graduating,
wait, you're missing out something. Wow, the proud sister has to say. She was summa cum laude lang naman in PSID.
Well, this is why I was asking you, how detailed do you want me to go into my life? Because there's something behind that. Because as a side note, our parents separated around that time. It is a motivation. Like, I wanted to show you that this is all worth it. Like, after graduating PSID, all of my classmates, they went on to intern for Laura Calma and Bujilayog and all of these much bigger design firms. Because actually, with any job, you go for the big guns because then once you have that on your resume, on your CV, then it's easier to go and do other things. But to me, I was like, is that really the path I want? I mean, it's great to get the experience, but I've always felt I want to make something and see the finished product and say that is mine. So you're an intern going overtime for hotel projects or big residential projects. And at the end of the day, it's stamped with company name. You do not exist in said finished product. So I've always felt like I'll do smaller ones, but at the end of the day, I say like that is mine. That's my baby. I've always wanted that. I did not get rich by doing that. But the nice thing is because I did go to Ateneo first, I did have contacts outside my PSID class. I always had projects, a friend of a tita of a old classmate so for some reason it all just fell into place that as one project was ending, all of a sudden I get called for another one. Fast forward 3, 4, 5 years, just due to contacts, Philippine Tatler approached me saying that we have this coffee table book on interiors. Would you want to do it? I said yes to this job. It was supposed to be just a one-off project, but the project did so well that they wanted to do it the following year and the following year. And basically, Tatler hired me as their special projects editor. I was doing that alongside my interior design projects as well. And through Tatler, I had a very good friend. I was heartbroken at the time. I said, you need a really nice guy I'm going to introduce you to. Someone. She showed me a photo and he was this very tall, white British man. I was like, oh, so not my type. And she's like, you know what? It doesn't have to be your type. Let's just have dinner because he's nice anyway. You're gonna have if anything, it's a nice night and it is what it is. Lo and behold, we hit it off from day one. Let's call him James. He became my boyfriend. We were together for a year, I think, and then he had to move back and we did the long distance thing for a year. And we were both like, oh, we don't really know whether we're going to stay together, be together, if we're in different time zones and can at the time there's no WhatsApp. There was Skype. That was the only one. And text was so expensive. One of us had to move if we wanted to see where that would go. And between his job in the city and my interior design job, where essentially it was project by project, it was more sensible that I did the move. I was hashtag living my best life. And this is when the option of should I move to the UK come up. I made the decision, you know what? How many people actually have the opportunity to go? And so I said yes to it. The route James and I decided at the time is you take a course in the UK, because then I get a student visa. I ended up doing a furniture course in London, and that was 2 years. Meanwhile, halfway through said furniture course, James and I broke up. It was a very amicable breakup. James helped me throughout the whole process. Because the other option is I can run back home to mommy, go back to Manila. Didn't work out. It's an easy choice. It's comfortable. I go home to Manila. I have a house. I have a car. My family is there. My friends are there. I'm stuck in London. I have zero friends. I mean, like old friends. It was a very uncomfortable situation for me, and I had to find a job. And my French best friend, she was working at Jamie Oliver's at the time, and she's like, Isa, why don't you come with me after class? She goes, the pay is not great, but she makes £2,000 on tip a month.
For everyone listening in pesos, that would be around 137,000 pesos a month in
2,000
tips.
in
Okay, so
tips.
again, not a bad choice.
I mean, I was desperate. I had no money. So again, with a conversion rate, before I moved to the UK, I had a bit of savings. Converted to pounds, oh my God. Like I ran out of money in 2 months. I am not kidding. And it's not like I was splurging, traveling, whatever. This is just basic. I helped out with the rent, buying a few groceries. So here she is, Emily. She offered me, she's like, I can easily get you a job. I'll vouch for you and they'll hire you. Just tell me how many days a week you want. At the time, this Emily girl, she was 19. I was 30 when I moved to the UK. I feel like I was at an age where I want to work for the money, because like at the end of the day, you come home at 2 a.m. You're really tired. I'm trying to juggle this with schoolwork. Yes, I'll be more comfortable financially, but I was like, that's just what I really want to do. And another like friend of a friend said, oh, they're looking for part-timers in this furniture store. It's going to be sales. It's related to what I do, and it's something that I can go to work and kind of speak passionately about. I've always been, you go into something because you want to do it. You want to show up every single day. So I said yes to this job. This one paid me £600 a month. I found a small apartment. I shared a room with a student, and this shared room was £400 a month. I was living off £200 every single month. I mean, it sounds like a lot if you convert it into pesos, but just to put things in perspective,
Yeah.
like a monthly travel card for train, bus, and whatever is about 100. But because I was a student, I
Yeah.
then had 100 something to work with. I would buy a 500-gram bag of pasta and I measure 100 grams every day. Come Friday, if I did not measure my 100 grams for every day, that spells the difference as to whether or not I have something to eat on the Friday. Genuinely scraping like the dregs of the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. But to me, I was like, I cannot afford to lift a pinky finger and do anything else apart from school and home and school and home. And that's just what I did. But eventually it paid off, because this furniture company that I was working for, when my course ended, then said, oh, you're going back to the Philippines. And we know we can't do that, because I was doing quite well in the job. I was working 2-3 days a week. And somebody pointed out that I was generating more business or more sales compared to somebody who was working there 5 days a week as their full-time job.
Mm-mm.
Because I'm an interior designer, and because when people come in, I'm able to, as I said,
Yeah.
speak passionately about it and advise them, and without trying to be salesy. It's just that I understand what you need and I can adapt to it. And because of that, the owner was like, you know what, I'll work on your visa to stay. I was so lucky. It was basically right time, right job, right place. The £600 a month salary was so worth it if at the end of it I then got sponsored to fast track what's happened to me since. I went from being in the sales team, I then got hired full-time as visual merchandiser, and I then became a buyer, which was amazing because I got to travel around Europe buying textiles in Belgium and Italy and whatever. And I became kind of involved in the design of the furniture. And again, because of my background, it's all of a sudden, once I shifted from student visa to work visa, all of these opportunities just opened up to me, which is great, because had I gone to Jamie Oliver's and done it for the money, 100% at the end of my course, I'll go back home with money, but that's it. That was my time in the UK.
Yeah.
And then now I have then moved on from that furniture company. I'm in with another retailer. Again, started doing product development with them, and product development, buying, and now I am creative director.
Yay!
Grabe yun.
And
And
last year, more importantly, actually, after many years of tears and lawyers' fees and uncertainty,
and 10 years in the UK, or 11.
and 11 years in the UK, I got my British passport.
Things have a way of working out, and
I
that's
agree.
exactly what happened to you. But I wanted to go to those crunch time
Moments.
moments. What kept you going during those times that you're like, we're so unsure?
I've always thought, you know what? I did not end up in London randomly. This is not just kasi I had a boyfriend. There is a reason why I'm here. I remember every day that I was making my little portion of my pasta, I knew, you know what, this is going somewhere and I just have to power through. I just have to wait. Leaving is the easiest option and actually the most sensible option. But I thought, one, in my case, it was how many people get the opportunity to live and work and study in London. I have to make it work. I won't take the easy path. I will always try and make it work until it can't work no more. And then I'll go home, which it almost did 3 years ago when I lost my job and again floating status and rent is so expensive and I'm down to the dregs of in my bank account all I had was money for a flight and for shipping my things back. Shortly after that I did find a job, which I'm now in a very, I would say, comfortable place.
Hi, I'm Aissa, Creative Director at Natural Math, and I would like to introduce you to the Rosemore bed.
I wanted to end with a few quick questions. What is one thing you feel you did right in your journey?
All the decisions I've made in both work and life and all that is always choose happy. For example, leaving the Philippines, I loved my career, I loved my family, but I go, is that where I'll really be happy? Or do I try out the question mark life with James? And I thought, you know what, that's where I'll be happy. Same thing with, should I work at the Jamie Oliver's and make loads of money, or at the sales at this retail store, but I'll be happy there. And I think every decision I've made, even though I was in a rut, I nearly had to leave here, but will going back home to Manila and trying to restart a career make me happy? Or kind of seeing where this adventure here takes me? And
Definitely, I agree 100%. What is one thing, looking back now, something you could have improved on or done better in your journey?
saved more money.
I knew you'd say that.
Obviously, I wasn't awash with funds, but when it came to the point where I was making money where I could save, I was like, you know what? I've been not so much stuck, but I've been in London for 5 years or whatever. Now I can actually afford a budget airline flight to Italy. I'll treat myself to Italy because I deserve it. And sort of point being, I feel like money management was something that I did not really know very much about, and I'm kind of late to the game at 42 where I'm now trying to make some sort of savings. So I think that is something that I wish from the get-go I did better.
Fill in the blanks. For me, trusting the process means.
To me, trusting the process is acknowledging that processes are never a straight path. There will be very, very high highs and even lower lows, but it's all part of said process.
Okay, last question is, what is one advice you wish you knew early on in your career that you would like to share to those starting theirs now?
I feel like I've lived with no regrets, so to speak. If you have very set expectations of where you want yourself to be, there is a greater possibility of like disappointment, because like I want to be here and I'm down here, and that is just so depressing. As opposed to having a set goal, I think you have to have a set path, and then you can never really be disappointed because whatever decision you make, any high low you make, you're on that path. There's less frustration if you're not at a certain point in your life at this time.
Thanks so much, Dee.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Come visit me.
Oh, sana.